More from that Public Accounts Committee report from the House of Assembly tonight. Yesterday's report, presented by Chairman Dr. Bernard Nottage, reviewed the New Providence Infrastructure Improvement Project and made several conclusions on the management of the project. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson has more.
With the government seeking another loan to fund the Nassau redevelopment project, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Bain and Grantstown MP, Dr. Bernard Nottage, who reviewed the report, said that they concluded that cost overruns in some instances could have been avoided.
Your committee concluded that much of this additional cost could have been avoided by better management and supervision of the project. Your committee further concluded that the cost may have been significantly lower if the government had taken out a hedge to protect against the fluctuation in prices of some of the commodities used in the project.
The report also revealed problems with the contractors Jose Cartellone, or JCCC. Dr. Nottage indicated that during the project there were about 500 Bahamian workers employed directly and by subcontractors. The report noted that JCC had difficulty identifying local rates for workers.
It is of note that they did not consult either the Bahamas Contractors Association in the cost of hiring workers for the project. JCC also testified that they never requested a pay scale for construction workers from the Ministry of Labor.
The report further concluded that Bahamas Hot Mix enjoyed a, quote, special relationship with the JCCC.
It received an extraordinary percentage of subcontracts to a value of $12+ million, which represented 77% of all subcontractor payments as of September 2011.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram has announced that an independent review of the government's administration of the project will be conducted for lessons to be learned and for future policy making. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Reported shoddy construction work on homes built before May 2000 caused several families to be relocated. That from Minister of Works Nico Grant, who responded to questions posed by former Minister of Housing Shane Gibson in the House of Assembly on Monday. Now, Grant said that the government spent some $13 million on repairs.
The government had to relocate some 15 families since May 2nd, 2007. Due to shoddy construction. May 2nd, 2007. These homes were built prior to May 2nd, 2007. One family is still to be relocated from the Dignity Gardens subdivision. Available information indicate that a significant number of homeowners in New Providence complained to the government prior to May 2nd, 2007 about shoddy construction works, termite infection, and the deteriorating conditions of their homes, but no budget provisions was made to address these concerns.
After nearly 10 years of non-reporting, 9 audited financial statements for the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas were tabled in the House of Assembly on Monday by Minister with responsibility for broadcasting, the Honorable Tommy Turnquest. The reports cover the period 2002 through 2010. According to Minister Turnquest, with the backlog finally eliminated, focus is now being placed on completing the financial audit for the year ending June 30th, 2011. The statement for the year ending June 30th, 2010 shows an operating loss of $11.6 million as compared to $12.1 million in 2009 and a total comprehensive loss of $2.7 million as compared to $3.9 million in 2009. It also shows the corporation still owing $1 million, that is $1,750,000 to the Performing Rights Society, the remaining of a $2.5 million debt, and $1.9 million in outstanding contributions due to the National Insurance Board. For the year ending 2010, the corporation received subsidies from the government totaling approximately $8.55 million, principally to cover operating costs for the fiscal year 2011. Of special note, as of June 30th, 2010, 2010, the corporation's pension plan had obligations of $29.4 million against an asset base of just over $5.6 million, a deficit of $23.8 million. Mr. Turnquest says it's now hoped that going forward, audited financials will be completed within 6 months of the relevant year end. The 2012 election date is still closely guarded information, but when Bahamian women cast ballots this year, it'll mark 50 years since they attained that right. A symposium at the College of the Bahamas provided the forum for reflecting on that journey and for some emotional commentary on the struggles which remain. An icon in Bahamian politics, the first female member of Parliament, the Honorable Janet Bostwick, credits women with progressive steps like attaining the right to civic appointments like jury duty and serving as justices of the peace, but says after enfranchisement, things slowed down.
Its failure to have a woman elected to Parliament until some 25 years after women gained the right to vote is unexplainable. It is unfathomable why Dame Doris Johnson, for example, was never nominated as a candidate in a seat which the PLP had a good chance of winning. It is of significance that the first PLP female member of Parliament was Mrs. Ruby Ann Cooper Darling, the first woman to register to vote in 1962. So our forerunners rested on their laurels.
And for that reason, Mrs. Bostwick says the contemporary Bahamian woman seems to have lost her passion, branding them as complacent, materialistic, and quiet. Completely unlike the Mabel Walkers, Eugenia Lockhart's, Georgiana Simonette's, Dame Doris Johnson's, and Mary Simonette's, who demanded what they believed was rightfully theirs.
We talked about the BPW and Mrs. Pauline Allen Dean. We need to have a few more Pauline Allen Deans around, because there are many, many, many issues that we Bahamian women can address, but we do not persist in the cause of it.
The lone male presenter, Andrew Dudd Maynard, a former politician and activist, was moved to tears when he reflected on Bahamian youth. He says they have taken for granted the struggles of people like his mother, Georgiana Simonette.
I just feel that lying down on Bay Street Black Tuesday hasn't come home to you people. And the reason why tears are coming from my eyes is because I sat in the cafeteria over there while my men were working on it and saw young ladies passing marijuana cigarette around to one another and to the boys. 3 young ladies, beautiful girls, and young men who, if they would only buckle down, have a chance to be something in this country.
The Cancer Society of the Bahamas is continuing its 20-year partnership with the Princess Margaret Hospital. Today, the organization donated $25,000 to offset the $500,000 price tag for a new mammogram machine at PMH. Studies show that Bahamian women are at high risk for breast cancer, and Cancer Society Chairman Dr. Francis Williams says that's why the new mammogram machine is pivotal.
The levels of cancer in the Bahamas are very high. Certainly as it relates to breast cancer, we have the highest level of genetic breast cancer in the world. And so we think that it's very important to detect cancer in Bahamian women. And so we found it necessary to contribute $25,000 to the PMH Foundation to get a mammogram machine. This is very important. We have women dying every week of breast cancer, and we have this happening to very young women. So we think that it's a very important cause.
Now, according to PMH Foundation executives, some $164,000 has already been donated toward purchasing the machine. However, fundraising committee member Jan Knowles says every little bit counts.
We started the Caring for Breast campaign some time ago, and the Cancer Society was one of the first partners to agree to come on board with this. And so, we're very proud today to be accepting the check from them. They have been a partner with the foundation for many years, and certainly we are looking forward to this continued partnership. As you know, breast cancer is a very, very serious issue in the Bahamas, and thus far, the campaign has been very successful.
Well, the Cancer Society purchased the first mammogram machine for the Princess Margaret Hospital back in 1985. The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, today launched its 2012 Ideas Energy Innovation Caribbean Contest in conjunction with a regional marketing campaign entitled What's Your Bright Idea? The contest is focused on promoting innovative solutions to energy problems with local or regional benefits, provide jobs, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. IDB Bahamas representative Astrid Winter says making energy renewable and sustainable is the ultimate objective.
Anyone can apply who is resident in one of the eligible countries, of which Bahamas is one of the eligible countries in the Caribbean. Some of the eligibility criteria have to do with the type of project, that it has to be about the innovative use of either an existing technology or development of a new technology. In other words, there has to be some value added to what already exists, and it has to be, therefore, innovative. That's, I think, the main criterion. And then there are other criteria with respect to some of the risk. You have to be able to identify within the project what are the risks to implementation, and also to identify specifically what are the benefits that you expect from the project.
In addition to the Bahamas, 14 other Caribbean countries are encouraged to apply. According to Winter, $200,000 is the maximum which can be received for any one project.
This contest was launched first in 2009, and to date only 2 Caribbean countries have won. One project was in St. Vincent in 2009 and the other in St. Lucia.
Now, applicants are invited to submit proposals by April 30th, focusing on adoption, innovation, assimilation, development, and transfer of technologies in renewable energy, energy efficiency, climate change, mitigation, and fossil fuel substitution. Submissions should be made electronically at www.iadb.org/idea. Officials say grant winners, that is, will be announced by July 15th. Well, while Prince Harry makes an official visit to the Bahamas this week, Bahamian law student Barry Griffin was selected among top law students in the United Kingdom to moot for and meet Prince Harry's grandmother, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. A moot is a simulated court proceeding. Griffin was handpicked as one of 4 students who had the pleasure of mooting for Her Majesty, displaying their legal knowledge and advocacy skills as she officially opened the East Wing of Somerset House in London as the new front door of the University of London. After the moot, Mr. Griffin, who was the principal speaker during the moot for the Queen, had an opportunity to speak and interact with Her Majesty. He said, quote, "Mooting before the Queen was an extraordinary experience, and having an opportunity to speak with her was incredible. It was nerve-wracking having to argue in court with the Queen just 2 feet away from me, watching and listening intensely. It was also a very proud moment for me." End quote. Griffin was president of the law school's Bar Society and interim chairman of the UK Law Students Association. Congratulations to him. Well, as Prince Harry made headlines this week, so was Miss Bahamas Universe, Anastagia Pierre. Pierre made several UK-based papers with some lighthearted comments that the international press ran with. I spoke with Pierre yesterday about the publicity that she's getting.
Miss Bahamas is in love with Prince Harry. Miss Bahamas has her eye on Prince Harry. Matchmaker in the Bahamas. It was really, really funny.
It's the stuff fairy tales are made of. A handsome prince meets a beautiful damsel, and they fall in love. And quite inadvertently, that's the story that was attributed to Miss Bahamas Universe, Anastagia Pierre, following these spontaneous comments made as she entertained a curious international press corps outside Christchurch Cathedral on Sunday.
So I got out of the car, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Miss Bahamas, what brings you to church here this morning?" And it was all so kind of almost like overwhelming. So I go, "I came here to fall in love with Prince Harry. And it was just a joke to kind of lighten the mood and break the ice a little bit, and they all laughed and thought it was hilarious. And then
Pierre did get her message across, though, telling the press about her civic responsibilities as Miss Bahamas Universe. But she says they didn't seem too interested in that angle of the story.
So they went back to, so the prince is single and you're beautiful. What do you think about that? Do you think he's hot? I know you guys say that here. Do you think he's hot? Would you marry him? So I said, well, yeah, sure. I mean, he's a prince. Who wouldn't want to marry a prince, you know? And that's kind of where it stemmed from, and it took off from there.
It wasn't until Monday that Anastagia met the prince at a youth luncheon at the Sheraton Hotel, and Harry, the mystery woman he was being linked to romantically.
He approached me and said, oh, you're the one that they've been telling me about. And I said, yeah.
So you hadn't spoken to him before then?
No, I had not. I mean, I had been to all of the events, but there's always such a crowd of people that it's hard for you to make your way through. And I was always wearing high heels, and I did not want to make that journey through the crowd. So I figured at the luncheon I'd have a one-on-one time, so I waited.
Anastagia says as far as she sees it, the story was just some light-hearted fodder, and she isn't taking it too seriously.
You know what? It's funny to me. It's funny. It's flattering. It's also pretty surprising because within hours, honestly, the church service was over around noon, and then I think about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon was when all the headlines started coming up.
Welcome to tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Let's take a look at what's making business news today.
During a luncheon with national youth organizations at the Sheraton Nassau Beach Resort yesterday, Britain's Prince Harry learned more about the multi-billion-dollar Bahama resort. Chairman and CEO Sarkis Ismailian shared plans for the development. When completed, Bahama is expected to be the Caribbean's largest single-phase resort when it opens in 2014. RBC announced today its sponsorship of the 40th Annual Conference of the Medical Association of the Bahamas that starts tomorrow at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel. Nathaniel Benaby Jr., market head for RBC's retail banking in the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and Turks and Caicos, said in a release their sponsorship of this conference provides a wonderful opportunity to directly recognize the extraordinary work of our doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals. In international business, Lehman Brothers' bankruptcy is the largest in history and has also been the most lucrative one for lawyers and consultants. The defunct bank's bill, nearly $1.6 billion. That tally comes from the latest court filings that track fees and expenses as of January 31st. And from regional business, just days before the presentation of the 2012 budget, Grenada's Ministry of Finance officials are being forced to revisit their projected sources of revenue for planned programs and projects of government. The country was expecting to generate millions of dollars under an initiative called Grenada Individual Investor Program. Remember, you can send us an email or join us on www.znsbahamas.com or become our friend on ZNS's official Facebook page.
And that's tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Thanks so much for watching.